Hi, welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. Today I was going to show you a simple little project that actually turns out to be quite beautiful, and it brings a decent price considering the very little amount of work you have to do to make it. It doesn't even require soldering, but it's making a triangle wire twisted bracelet, and so that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So if you find this video to be useful and you enjoy it, would you hit the like button? And also maybe subscribe to the channel. So let's get started. So here's some number 2 triangle wire from Rio Grande. As you can see, it's pretty thick and it's going to be difficult to bend, so we're going to do some tricks to make that easier. But what we're basically going to do is I'm going to cut a piece that's about bracelet length, and then we will isolate a part of the wire here in the center, maybe 2 inches worth, and we'll put a twist in it before we bend it into a bracelet shape. So it's a pretty easy bracelet to make, with the exception of the twisting it because it's so thick, and then bending it into shape in the shape of a bracelet is a little challenging. But we can do some annealing to soften the metal up to make it a little softer and easier to bend after we've done some twisting and stuff. So we'll see what we can do here. For bracelets, generally, I make them anywhere between about 5.5 inches and 6.5 inches, maybe 7 inches sometimes. Pretty average wrist size for a woman is, depends on the person of course, different people have different size wrists, but generally in the 5.5 to 6 inch range is a pretty good size. So I'm going to go with just 6 inches to start with here, and we'll see how it turns out. Maybe a little 6 1/4 just to be safe. Let's do that. So I'm going to make a little mark here, 6 1/4-ish. I always try to make a variety of sizes of things, so if I'm going to have some of these twist bracelets, I'll have 2 or 3 different sizes that are slightly different. Okay, now you could probably use the wire cutters and cut partially through there, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the jeweler's saw and cut through that because it's so thick. One of the things you can do is cut it partway through and then bend it to get it off like that. So, alright, so first things, let's try and get this a little straighter. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to weigh this and see how much silver we have here. I'm guessing it's more than 1 ounce. Actually, it's slightly under. It's 0.825 ounces, so you can tell people it's almost a full ounce here. Alright, I think I'm going to smooth out the ends a little bit. So at current prices, this is probably about $25 to $30 worth of silver. And generally I'm going to sell these for over $100, so they're pretty good profit margin things, and people don't seem to have a problem paying that kind of a price, at least where I live. So let's first of all, let's find the center. So it's about 6 3/8 is what it ended up being. So let's do this. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. That should be about the middle there. Alright, now I don't want it to twist the entire length. I want the ends to be straight. So I want it to just do a sharp twist kind of in the middle here of this bracelet. So I'm thinking, as long as this one is, let's isolate about 2 inches. So we'll go 1 inch to either side of that center point. And that'll kind of give us our, we'll be making the twist from ear to ear. I'll go ahead and continue that line about there, so I can see it from the bottom as well. So I'm going to use some unconventional silversmithing tools here. I just got a couple of old C-clamps here that sometimes I use for this. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and isolate I'm going to put this so that that edge is right about on that line there. And I'll kind of tighten it down. Not too tight, I don't want to dig up the metal too much. Probably should have done this before I started the video. If you had some vice grips or something that didn't have teeth, that would also work for this. But basically, once you clamp it off, we've isolated this portion to this portion here, and all I have to do then is just twist this around like this once. And I try to leave it where these two sides are pretty much at about the same angle. You know, when you bend something, it always springs back a little bit, so play with how far you've bent it just a little bit before you release these. Okay, so now we've got a piece of triangle wire with a twist in it in the middle. But while we were doing that, we made this super hard by work hardening it. So in order to make it easier to bend again, we're going to go ahead and heat it up to the point where it's a little bit soft and let it cool off. So, get my torch going here. This is called annealing. And what I'm doing, I'm going to get it up to kind of a dull reddish color and then let it cool down on its own for a while. What that does is it realigns the molecules, or the atoms in the metal, so that they're a little more random again. Twisting and pounding tends to put them into ordered sequences, which makes the metal harder and springier. This reverses that process. Takes quite a while to get a big chunk of metal like this at the temperature. Okay, we'll let that sit for a minute. Generally, when you're annealing something, you let it cool most of the way before you quench it the rest of the way. So I'm going to let that sit for a while, and then I'll cool it off the rest of the way here. If you have one of these, great. If you don't, there's many things you can do instead of using these. The only reason I have a bracelet mandrel is I bought somebody's tools one time and he happened to have one in there. I never had one up until then. You can use any kind of cylindrical object to help shape things like this. I used to use the propane torches outside to get them started. I mean, you could use a water bottle if you wanted to, but basically we got to get the bend started on this. And quite honestly, I usually polish it at this stage first, so I think I'm going to do that first, and then we'll do the bending part. So we will let this pickle for a while, and then I'll polish it, and then I'll come back and show you how to bend it into shape. So let's do that. That'll work best. Finish polishing it up a little bit here. So we annealed it before I did this, so it should be a little bit softer than it was. So I'm just gonna, if I wasn't using this, I'd be using some other roundish object. I'm gonna get a push down on that. These parts here, I may have to do a little bit of tapping with plastic headed hammer here, like this, and curved a little bit. Okay, sort of roughly shaped, but usually spend a little bit of time hand shaping it, and you can use pressure against things to bend. Or if you need to go back to whatever object you're using to round things out, you can. And just like most cuff bracelets, you can adjust this a little bit for your customer. I usually bring a plastic hammer and some kind of mandrel along with me, which I can use to pound against if I need to. But I think that makes a relatively easy bracelet that you can sell for $100 plus. Right, that's how to make a triangle twist bracelet. I hope you found it relatively easy to do. I hope you enjoyed the information about isolating a twist in some wire. And if you did find this all useful, would you please consider liking the video, subscribing to my channel, and maybe sharing it with others who you think might like it as well. So, wanted to thank you for watching and let you know that I want you to have happy silversmithing. Take care.